Yo, everybody, SHAU here, and welcome to another episode of Slam Talk. So, today, I was going to do this earlier in the week and give my thoughts about Wrestlemania, but then had the idea that I should watch Raw and SmackDown, give a little bit of full viewing of my thoughts on WrestleMania and the fallout from it. So, I thought I would start this talk with probably what I would probably say is a controversial thing, and I will say this on air. And it was when I was looking at that Obafemi Brock Lesnar match and when Brock Lesnar retired. And, you know, if you haven't seen my reaction that I did live, it shocked the living world out of me. But it made me start thinking about, flowers and giving people their just due and celebrating them while they're here. And for some reason, especially after he lost at WrestleMania, and the fact that WrestleMania next year is going to be in Saudi Arabia, and the fact that he hasn't won a world title yet, and what will be a great first way in which for him to win that title in front of what would be his home crowd in Saudi Arabia. Those who know wrestling know who I'm talking about. Those who don't, welcome to Sami Zayn. And it made me instantly think about him, and especially after he lost. I looked and I said, they're probably going to have that man main event WrestleMania next year. Now, we are talking probably Saturday night main event, but I actually do see him winning the Rumble, doing kind of a Jey Uso thing, and having the first match of WrestleMania against two. Have no idea. That pocket spent so much. The fact that Cody probably might be champion for a while. I can see that as a Saturday night main event. But I can see them trying to do the Jey Uso thing too. So I just wanted to get my first controversial thought out there now and go through just my random thoughts I wrote down throughout the week. And the first one that I got, and it was right after the Oba Brock match, was we need Obafemi versus Roman Reigns sooner rather than later. Made me start thinking about Brock Lesnar's career and how he started and how he got his first championship at SummerSlam. And I could see a similar path going over the next few months in steering that. Does Oba win? I don't know. Roman Reigns is a long title holder. So we'll have to see about that one. And then I saw some reports that said that Brock Lesnar hurt himself at WrestleMania, which is why he threw up the X symbol. But, with AJ retiring and taking a role in the WWE, I wonder, since Brock is retiring, if he'll do something of the same. Something to look at. Something to look at in the future. The Cody Rhodes Randy Orton match at WrestleMania. I still will forever have that little thought in my mind of an NWO thing that I was having when I first saw Pat McAfee, to looking at the, as they say, the TKO machine trying to generate more revenue. Pat McAfee saying goodbye to wrestling. Having Jelly Roll in the storyline so he can go and get the elbow. That could have been left out the match, and it could have been straight one-on-one. Cody could have still won. Randy could have still beat the tar out of him, and the story would have still been the same. But kudos to Pat McAfee for taking all of that punishment. I don't think I can. But that story isn't over in Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes round 2. I'm wondering if it's just going to happen at Backlash. Because through the course of how most things run, there are some matches that are just replayed from WrestleMania. So I expect Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams at Backlash. I expect some form of the female 4-way to be at Backlash. I can see Dom versus Finn at Backlash. But Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes round 2, is that something that's going to be a Backlash? Is that something that's going to build a little bit and maybe go a little bit of time, and maybe we'll get it at Night of Champions? I don't know. But that second round is coming, where I do see Randy Orton actually winning. So that should be interesting, and hopefully we get the storyline we should have got for WrestleMania, this time around, and it starts to become something good. I said a little bit earlier about AJ Styles and how he said in the Hall of Fame that he'll be, helping to bring in the future, which means he might be doing something with talent. And his career outside of the WWE, outside of wrestling, and what it's going to look like and things like that. Is he going to be an executive in WWE? Sitting with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, helping to bring in a new generation. I don't know. It would be cool. I was strictly a WWE, WWF, anything that had to do with, Vince McMahon. I was all over. And I didn't really watch much of things outside of that. But my friends from high school, they were into WCW, and I liked some of WCW. Love Sting. Love the Steiners. Loved Rey Mysterio. But outside of that, I didn't really watch much. And my friend from high school started watching TNA. Then I found out Hulk Hogan went to TNA. Then Kurt Angle went to TNA. Then Kevin Nash went to TNA. Then the Macho Man went to TNA. And I'm like, huh? So why do we have the, wrestler retirement league? But there were two superstars that caught my eye when I started watching TNA. Number two was AJ Styles. And the charisma in which he had and the character in which he portrayed, I was captivated. Number one, and it is so nice to see everybody pay him the tribute in which of doing his move for almost every superstar in which you can almost name. John Cena did it. Roxanne Perez does it. Penta does it. There's a lot of people in AEW who does it. And that's Mr. Canadian Destroyer himself. It's P.D. Williams. The first time I saw the Canadian Destroyer, I sat with my jaws dropped, chips fell on the floor. Like, what in the world is this? And why ain't he dead? And that became one of my top 5 finishers ever. But I saw some of AJ's stuff in Japan. And then when he transitioned to the WWE, and the matches he had with Shinsuke and with John Cena, it was a pleasure to see him do his work. And just how he moved and acted and portrayed himself, he will go down as probably one of the greats. Kudos to AJ Styles in his career. Kudos to Sid Vicious in his career. I wasn't the biggest fan of Sid, but that match he had with Shawn Michaels and the career he had in the WWE, somebody should have spoke at least 3 minutes for that man. AJ Lee's future, now that she lost the title, and stories can move on. What's going to be in her future? Does she go out of, the Intercontinental picture and try to now weasel her way in, or, get her way into a world title match? Because her versus Liv Morgan would be one world of a match. I'm saying that one right now. I'm actually going to root for that one sooner rather than later. But I wonder if she's going to take a little bit of time off to, get family stuff together and then come back around, the European tour. So we'll have to see about AJ. So when it comes down to the matches of WrestleMania, I like them all. Going back to it, some shorter than others. The Liv Stephanie match could have been a little bit different. But out of the two women title matches, the Jade Rhea match actually shocked me. You know, with everything that's been happening over the last, 3 years with Jade, this was her first chance inside of the actual spotlight, the female main event. And for what she did, I think she did one world of a job. You can tell that she's improving and she's getting more comfortable. And Rhea is Rhea. And her in the ring with Rhea and them to put together a decent match. Kudos to Jade Cargill. Don't I can see her, invoking her rematch and her and Rhea probably fighting again at Backlash, but we'll have to see what everything goes with that one. And, sitting through the processing of what they're going to do with that, women's championship over there on SmackDown. Okay. I didn't do it this year, but I used to go down and look at, WrestleMania entrances. And I mean, we can all name the iconic ones. That Undertaker entrance with him walking and the hands up and looking like they're coming from hell. Stone Cold Steve Austin's glass breaking, Rock in the helicopter, John Cena with the race car. There are so many. Shawn Michaels gliding down. Triple H in the wall of mirrors, which still is probably one of my top 3 ever. But the entrances this year, I don't know if I have a top 5, but I have 5. I loved the Demon's entrance. I agree with most people that should be inside and in the complete darkness. But that was a really good entrance. Jacob Fatu's entrance, I really liked with the fire. That one was really, I really, really, really liked that one. I really liked Randy Orton's, but Randy Orton's is, really, really simple, nice graphic, and that walk. I think that walk was as long as Roman Reigns' entire entrance. But the top 3, I don't even know if I can give them an order. But I really liked Cody Rhodes' entrance at WrestleMania. And going through the history, looking like you're inside of, the Batcave or Hall of Justice or whichever one you want to call it. And his all gold as he came up through the Cody Vader. That was really, really, I really liked that one. and the two entrances from the main event, and I can't tell you which one I liked more. The whole big cinematic, tribal, theatrical, really, really big Coliseum. I'm just going to walk out and look like a god, Roman Reigns. Or I waited 22 years for this moment. And I'm going to play the music that I originally started with. And those visuals was great. His jacket was great. Him standing on the rope was great. Him being CM Punk was great. But what stuck out to me the most in that entire entrance is when he was there, and I wish I was there in Vegas to see that. I wonder if the entire stadium did go quiet. No music, no video, no lights, no pyro, nothing. Just him standing there, kneeling there, rubbing the stage, setting up and saying that it's clobbering time with nothing. That right there, at that moment made me glad I was a wrestling fan and that I followed that man's career and knew where he came from and saw the emotion in his eyes as he did that, man. And out of those two entrances, I don't even know which one was better. Both of them was equally as good. And it's been a while since, well, Cena and Cody Rhodes last year was interesting, especially John Cena coming out with the all black. That was pretty good. But in the realm of greatest WrestleMania entrances ever, I think those two are going to actually, I think, may enter the actual list. Kudos to both of them for their entrances. And the one thing that I absolutely loved, and I don't even remember how many WrestleManias it's been since we've had this. And of course, we had the interruptions in the Cody Randy match. But in the main event of WrestleMania, there was no interruptions. No, nothing. Just, well, everybody's talking about Roman Reigns in the steel stairs and he should have been disqualified. Normal circumstances, yeah. But it's the main event of WrestleMania. It's like, the Super Bowl and somebody holds somebody for a second too long, but they don't throw the flag because it's, the Super Bowl. And that's what I took that as. But with no outside interference at all. We got a definitive winner and a definitive loser. It'll be interesting to see what CM Punk's going to do, to get back up the mountain. Is it going to be sometime this year? Don't know. it also makes me think of, after watching Raw, and Jacob might be the one that will first test Roman. Are they going to cross brand superstars from Raw and SmackDown to challenge for both belts? Are we done with the draft? Are we done with closed rosters and we'll open up the roster to everyone now? Questions for the future. But that match was so good. And when CM Punk got Roman up for that second GTS, I'm like, he's about to do it. And as soon as I said the word it, I'm like, he's out of gas. And he collapsed. I'm like, Roman got it. Like I said, I didn't care who won. I just wanted it to be a really good match. And that was a really good match. I don't know which one was better, Roman winning that belt or Cody finishing his story. So that's interesting in itself. Potential opponents for Obafemi. One in particular that I would love to see, on the road of him, challenging Roman will be Oba versus Gunter. I can see the brutality now. And I can see that being like a number one contenders match. So we'll have to see how that one goes. But it's going to be interesting to see how Obafemi is, especially after him coming out on Raw and doing his The Ruler Has Arrived and those things, to see how they play this and see if they'll give him that treatment and let him be the dominant force in which he is, and which of how he creamed Brock Lesnar. And then I started thinking, because of the fact of who are champions now, and both of them can hold both belts for a long time, it made me start thinking about Crown Jewel. Are we going to get Roman versus Cody, round 3, both of them as champions, and see who, takes the draw, or, the win from the draw? That one's going to be interesting to see down the line and how they go ahead and play that. I also think that it is going to be Obafemi versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And the process of doing that is I have Obafemi winning King of the Ring this year, which should be a really interesting bracket, especially since they have people like Royce Keys now. And, you got Ethan Page, who now is coming up, looking like Joe Hendry's coming up. And it should be a really interesting bracket for them to make for that King of the Ring this year, too. But I do have Obafemi winning King of the Ring. Okay. This will probably be my final topic in looking at the card of WrestleMania this year compared to the 41 that came before it. And, talking about your, greatest matches of WrestleMania history. And we can run those all day, every day. Hulk Hogan versus The Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man, Stone Cold versus The Rock, Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels, the Undertaker in any of the matches in which he's ever been in. Not all of them not top 10, of course, but matches in which that you will remember for a really, really long time. Are there any from this WrestleMania that will fit that list? I have a couple. Though not the biggest spectacle as it usually is, but that ladder match was something nice this year. I tried to go through the research to see if there's ever been more than one masked wrestler inside of a WWE ladder match, and I still can't find it. And there were 3 in this one. That match will be remembered for a really long time. Especially that Mexican Destroyer onto the ladder. That was sick. In the main event, I believe those 2 matches will be talked about for a really, really long time. I mean, was this a top 10 WrestleMania? Don't know. Top 20, of course. But overall, WrestleMania was, I believe, a great success. Sunday better than Saturday. Highlight of WrestleMania. You are Gust. Love Danhausen. As soon as I saw his introduction into WWE, you know how you just know somebody's just going to be big? Danhausen's that big. Like, I can see him cursing his way all the way up to being WWE champion in some crazy kooky way. And I will sit and laugh the entire time. That guy is great. But those are my notes. And this is Slam Talk. And I'm going to try to come on a little more often and do more videos. But I just wanted to go ahead and do that. And while on cue, the doggies are barking. This is SHAU, and I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe. Join me in conversation. And we will keep this going. Other than that, good night, guys.